real high-class bout. It's on! It's on!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, episode 114. This is Boss Rush Games Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is the Colonel himself, Colonel Panic Joe Wilson.
Hiya.
And joining us, not Josh Finney, but our, you would say, frenemy from PlayStation Crossroads, our PlayStation podcast here on Boss Rush Games, is the PC Muscle Race, Mr. LeRon Dawkins.
What's going on, everybody?
Now, you're here not because you're the PlayStation guy. You're here because you are also a PC guy. Also, we like having you around.
Oh, thanks. It wasn't like I had to have too many bribes out there tonight, did I? Because
No.
I saw when you put out who wants to be on the show tonight, and I was like, I'm an interloper, but let me see if I can come in.
You know, LeRon, what I really did was put out a tweet out there that said everybody needs to subscribe to LeRon's OnlyFans account so we could get him on the show tonight. So,
Well, that explains why I had a bunch of slides into the DMs earlier this afternoon while I was playing Alien Isolation, getting the living piss scared out of me.
yeah, well, I had to do what I had to do. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do some favors. Gotta get your knees dirty sometimes. I don't know. Is that what the kids say?
I'm getting old. I need knee pads.
I know. Look, dude, walking up and down stairs is a chore, not because I'm out of shape and out of breath, but because my knees hurt every time I put pressure on my right one. It's just like, oh God, is this it? Is this it? Is this where my knee turns into Dak Prescott's ankle injury? Oh.
Let me tell you, when it sounds like you're popping popcorn, but it's your knees as you walk up and down the stairs, that's alarming.
Yeah. Or when you just stand up out of bed too. That always hurts sometimes. But how's everyone's weekend? How's it going? How's the weekend? How's life treating everybody?
Brief.
Yeah.
Well, I get
It's
that.
going pretty good.
Yeah, it feels like the weekend. It feels like the weekend kind of just showed up and now it's on its way out.
Yeah, I was like this weekend we celebrated our anniversary this weekend, and we did a whole bunch of stuff yesterday, and today I went over to my parents' house to grab some stuff that they've been holding on for me for 30 years. It's like I gotta store it here now because, well, it's probably time, But and now that the end of the weekend's here, and Arsenal X is the exclamation point on the very brief weekend. So yeah, that's how my weekend went. But before we get into that, the housekeeping and our giveaway and Xbox Series X 2020 shipping updates for everybody, I did find some Xboxes that I've been looking for. I found a working Xbox 360 Slim that works. It's in mint condition. I don't think it's ever been used. I found one. Ooh. I found two. I found a Joe. You missed this. You weren't here when I was showing them, but I found a Duke.
Nice.
And a blue S controller.
Oh man, with the breakaway cables?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were awesome.
For $15.
Nice.
15
That's
bucks.
awesome. Man, nostalgia's a hell of a drug, I tell you.
I know. And then I've been looking for an original Xbox because mine died a long time ago and I just got rid of it. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law's giving me his. He has one in his basement.
Don't you love when it works out like that?
I know. I
Does
got
it still work?
yeah. I guess
That's
he says it turns
awesome.
on. So you know, if it turns on, I assume like
I mean, like the original box has never had a problem really. The only problem I would see with it is possibly the hard drive. But
yeah, or like the laser,
I mean,
maybe the disc laser.
But
But
those were pretty easy to replace, weren't they? The hard drives. A lot of people were putting like massive ones in it.
I think
Could
need
you
a T-
imagine? Now you could put like a terabyte in it.
I think you need a T15 to get into it, but other
Yeah.
than that, like I would flash that hard drive to an SSD and then just never worry about it again.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I found all the stuff. Like what I want to do, I don't really want to like use these consoles really. I mean, I have my 360. I have this 360. I'm downloading a bunch of arcade games that aren't backwards compatible. It's pretty much what it's going to be used for if and when I need it. But like, I'm gonna have like I was telling Jesse, like there's gonna be a lot of Xbox focus and and PlayStation focus the next probably 3 or 4 months, as these games come out and trickle out and whatever for us. And I just kind of want like an Xbox display, to do our videos and stuff. So
You know what you need to do? You need to put like a shelf that they all fit on, right?
yeah,
And then have some sort of HDMI switcher that when you switch to each Xbox, a little light is over top of it, lighting up which one is on.
oh, that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, that
That'd be a cool idea.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. I might take some of the soundproofing out and put it like right here. Like right here, and move the soundproofing like on the ceiling or,
the only thing is though, is if I did that, I would have the Dreamcast.
my
Xbox.
Dreamcast is going in that case or that display too, because I mean Dreamcast is like Xbox Zero, right? I would say,
Yeah.
I think that's how everybody kind of
that, like my love.
What?
Yeah, my love of the Dreamcast ultimately is what like really like they were going for that same kind of thing, for the Xbox, and that's kind of what, like it was the the evolution of the Dreamcast. Like if the Dreamcast became its own like genre of system, I guess you could say, or whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
It's definitely the Xbox was like the second version of it.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have all this stuff and like my office is a mess because I have a bunch of totes that I need to go through now from my parents' house to like either put on the shelf or sell at this point. And I put all my hardback strategy guides in one of the totes, and it weighs like probably 60 pounds. Tried to bring that in from my driveway in through the front door and into the office was like, God, I should have just paid someone to move this. This thing's fucking heavy.
With your knees in the shape they are,
Yeah,
man.
I know. Also, on the back to the knee thing, not really the knee thing, but like, I totally forgot I had a chiropractor's appointment on Friday and I missed it. No.
Oh no!
I know. So.
Oh no! You're just gonna stay out of alignment now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be crooked forever.
But thanks for the reminder. I told myself after I recovered from that sciatic thing that I was going to get in with a chiropractor. So thank you for reminding me that I'm slipping on that.
You're welcome. But Joe, I am getting that monitor you sent me, the Samsung QLED one.
That's awesome. So after we had our last thing, you inspired me. I went under my stairs is where I store all like my extra boxes and stuff. And I went and I got my PlayStation Pro box from under, and I'm gonna box it up and put it on eBay. So I was gonna do it this weekend, but obviously not enough time now. But I got all my like PlayStation VR boxes, and just gonna list it all now. Get prepped, get it out the door while the getting's good on that. And
I sold mine for $240 with $40 shipping. So
that's anything over 200 is good for me.
Yeah, the Crossroads crew and we were talking that it's really exciting that this time we can actually voluntarily get rid of our current console because the new console is going to basically give us the experience that we want.
Yeah.
without not missing out on much, even though
Unless
we are
you
going to
wanna-
do like a
Unless you want to play Afro Samurai 2 or Shadow Complex.
yeah, you see, there you go, because we're planning a show we're planning like a funeral show for the 10 games that PS5 will not be able to play.
But you know
That's not a bad idea.
You know what they did
should
say,
have a
though?
funeral.
Those companies came out and said they're going to try to figure out why they won't play on PlayStation 5 and try to patch them. So some of them will be patched.
I'm all for that.
I mean,
I'm all.
yeah, I would be too. It's like I'm glad they kind of like some people actually care about the games they put out. Like, okay.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing is I think a lot of these companies would prefer their games to continue moving forward, and because like with Xbox kind of doing the backwards compatible stuff. I mean, it's really become a highly enjoyed and just praised thing that like you hear people talk about like the back in the day when they would do when they used to record TV shows and stuff. It would be on the reels or whatever, or on on stuff, and then like ABC or whatever, the next episodes they just rewrite over their previous episodes, and nothing was ever kept. Nothing. There's a lot of shows that they're just literally there doesn't exist copies of those episodes anymore, because back in the day they just didn't care about it. They would just record over stuff again, and and like there's this like with everything being digital, there's just such a stronger presence of people wanting to preserve stuff that's been made, and and be able to still have access to things. And I think it's just important, like overall, even if it's not something that you're going to use a whole lot, it's just still nice to be able to go back to it. And like the fact that I can play 360 games or original Xbox games on my Xbox One right now and stream them to Twitch while I'm playing them. An old ass game that never had the ability, the console that you played that originally on never had the ability to stream it to to something like Twitch is just awesome,
Yeah. Plus, like, I'm
So
waiting.
Just for that alone, it's fun.
I'm waiting for that Dreamcast patch. Do they let Dreamcast games be backwards compatible?
Yeah, that would be great.
That's.
Wouldn't that be crazy though? In reality,
It'd be awesome.
if like, yeah, I think it's awesome that like I honestly think that probably mid-year through, or not mid-year, midlife through this new generation, the next gen version of the Xbox Series X and S, I would not be surprised if we would have access to almost the entire like Xbox catalog, meaning from original Xbox through Series X, and I think that's
Honestly,
that's just awesome.
I was telling Corey earlier that I really just need a way to play Jet Set Radio Future. And in all seriousness, I will buy a Series S if they say it goes if we can get backwards compatibility all the way back to the launch title.
They're going to make it a big deal. They're
Future.
going to give you a Jet Set Radio Future Series S special edition.
Hey, I will be Microsoft's a little whore for that one. I'm sorry.
So they, it was cripes. It was almost whenever they started really working hard on the Series X, they stopped releasing backwards compatible games. But I don't think that meant they stopped developing and working on the product of their back catalog. I wouldn't be surprised if they unveiled something sometime soon where it's just like, hey, this is all the backwards compatible stuff that we now have access to. I bet that list is going to grow as soon as the new consoles are out.
Yeah.
If they want LeRon to have an Xbox Series S or X, all they gotta do is put Jet Set Radio Future on one of those systems and not have it on Game Pass, and I'm there.
And you're not the only one. There's a lot of people that would be dying for that.
Yeah, I mean, Jet Set Radio is one of those things that people just absolutely love. Although that that franchise, and yeah, and like I've been honestly asking for a new one and stuff too for a long time. I mean, now we're getting that one game that's very similar to it. That's I forget what it was called. There was a game that was very similar to it.
I mean,
It was kind of the same idea.
There's a few games. I know there's a game that came out about I don't know 6 months ago at this point called Hover.
Oh,
and it was similar.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why a lot of people the people that did like it, like really liked Sunset Overdrive, because it was like almost like a very similar version of that, but with like more parkour type kind of like.
Yeah, it had that feel.
Yeah.
That Sunset Overdrive is an amazing game. If anyone hasn't played it, it is so right when that game came out is whenever I bought my Xbox One, because they announced the Master Chief Collection. That game, they came out with a white model, and it's like, okay, that's the one I'm gonna get, and I got that with like everything. And that's also the time where they had that deal where they stopped putting the Kinect in the box, and you could like get crap. They had some sort of rebate system where you got an extra like $100 or $125 if you like traded in your 360 or whatever. And I did all that in one fell swoop.
Okay. Nice.
I will never forget that. But that game was an amazing game. It was the first Xbox One game that I played.
Yeah. That was.
I still have that Sega GT Jet Set Radio Future combo disc.
Sega GT is also a great game.
Yeah, it was, but it was like those are like two very random games to stick together. But it's still like I have that combo disc. It is like it's just sitting on my shelf with like Psychonauts and I don't know however many versions of Madden I bought that year or that generation. And yeah, man.
Yeah, I had that. What was it? It was I had a combo disc that was like Forza and Halo. It was a Forza Halo combo box set where it was.
I remember that.
Like I don't know what it's even from or like who is selling it, but I had bought it used for like really super cheap.
I thought it was one of those ones that like back in the day when like you had CDs that came in those little slip covers. I could have sworn it was like one of those type deals where it was like it came out the box and it had one of those little slip covers and it had both games on the disc.
It was, I just remember on one side, like, because you know how normally you'd have a front and a back of a box. On the back it would say all the information, and then the front, obviously the front page. But with this, it just had one side was the cover of Halo, and the other side was the cover of Forza. Yeah, and it was a really weird combo that because I did end up selling it, and they didn't even know what to look up to even find a price for it.
Yeah. So I remember that. I remember those from my GameStop days.
Yeah. I just miss like a lot of those like kind of fun, neat, just kind of things like even just like demo discs and all that came with magazines and like there's just so many fun little things like back in the day of even the original Xbox.
I used to have, and I kick myself that I don't have it anymore. I'm pretty sure I threw it away, but Microsoft had sent me a disc for Halo Reach as like the preview, but it was the full game before the game came out, and they had to like sync up my console so that they put me on it wasn't a full developer build, but they gave me some sort of key so that it would let me play the game before the release date, and it was like literally a silver disc that just said Halo Reach preview copy in like just black letters. There was no artwork or anything. And I got to play. It was like one of the coolest experiences because I got like a survey and a thing. It's like, yes, I totally want to play it. It's like you've been selected, and they had to do an update to my console. And I got this disc, and then I just threw it away like an idiot. But in all fairness, you couldn't use that on anything other than a console that had that access or whatever.
Yeah.
But mistakes.
That's
mistakes.
crazy. That's crazy that you had a pre-release version of the game. That's
It was
crazy.
Awesome. I don't know. I was really excited at the time.
Yeah.
That's
Still a highlight, you'd say.
That's
Stuck
awesome.
with me.
But all right, well, let's get through some of this housekeeping and tell people about our giveaway before we head on into some of the topics we have. This is Arsenal X, the Xbox show here on Boss Rush Games. Every week we come together with our friends from around the internet to talk about the latest news, rumors, games, and more within the world of Xbox. You can catch us live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/BossRushGames live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to join the conversation. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and podcast services everywhere on Tuesday mornings. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you consume our show. And you can catch all of our content and our family of shows on BossRushGames.com. Just a little reminder, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or iTunes or whatever they're calling it today, just give us some of them 5 stars and a nice review. Really appreciate it. Really, we want to get noticed, people. Noticed. Anyways, we're giving away 6 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. We're giving it away on November 8th, just the live show before the Xbox Series X and S come out. Basically, we're giving your new console 100 high-quality games on launch day for 6 months, according to Xbox. That's what they said. Over 100-plus quality Xbox titles on Game Pass.
Yep.
The rules are simple. Follow us on Twitter. Reply with a screenshot where you listen to us. Retweet and tag 2 friends. Cutoff for entries is November 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The tweet will be pinned on Twitter. So get those entries in, people. We want to know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because, if you include, since they're putting EA Play in there,
I know.
It's over 160 games. There's at least 160 games to pick from then.
Because I think EA Play on Xbox has, 84, 85. I think Major Nelson tweeted out, last week that there's 206 games on Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
So get them in, guys.
Yeah.
We're doing this for you, the fans, our fans, the Xers, the people who legit throw up the X. Do it. Do it. Come on, LeRon. Do it.
All right, fine. Fine. I'm a PlayStation guy. I'm supposed to be the triangle or the square.
Or the circle. There's an X on that PlayStation controller somewhere.
Or the L button.
You know what? I have had that gesture pointed at me before a few times. So yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That was a good one, Jesse.
It was good.
That was
a scoreboard.
I am very good on Jesse's brand of humor. Like this is like our 19th go round now.
And to be fair, because we obviously it's all fun and games, but I've been just going on how I just absolutely loved that state of play, but so who knows? Maybe someday you'll see me on their show as well. So
we'd love to have you.
By the way, speaking of UI, I just turned on an Xbox 360 for the first time in probably 5 years at this point.
Yeah. And
that UI is so clean and simple. Can we go back to that, please? Can we just go back to that? It's so nice.
But though it was slow, it was a little slow though.
Yeah, but you put a slow UI from the 360 on a Series X, it's gonna switch menu items before you even press that button. How fast it's gonna be.
To be fair, it kind of was very similar to what originally went on. There was some things that were similar when the Xbox One first came out, but
so the 360 dashboard that you have now, what is it? It's post blades, right?
Yeah, it's the squares. It's just like the
Windows Phone.
Yeah. something like that. No, it is it.
Oh,
Windows Phone?
I gotcha. It's like the
sheets, like pages
I
almost.
don't know what that's called. There's a name for it.
It's like
'cause
it's like Blades 2.0.
Yeah.
So.
I never really minded the 360 stuff, but yeah, I've definitely because I have been going back onto the 360 occasionally because I do have one that I had been using for quite some time until I got my One X. I was using it pretty regularly, but yeah, like with these newer updates to the Xbox One UI and what's gonna be basically the what we're gonna see on the Series X. Like I've really been loving the changes that they've made to the UI on the Xbox One.
Yeah, I turned it on the other day. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, so boggles my mind that every time I turn on my Xbox to play a game, and I have everything set to like always be on automatic updates, just do your thing. Every time I go to play, like mostly it's Call of Duty, and it's already like it's already begging for space with that stuff, and it's just like, hey, you need to do an update. Then I got to download an update. Destiny. Hey, there's an update. It's like, shouldn't you be doing this automatically? And then I went into my Xbox, I turned it on, and I can see like a thick outline. It's different. I'm like, did I accidentally turn on some accessibility thing where it's like highlighting stuff? And I'm like, wait, this is different. Like, I definitely messed something up. Just like it just did the update without me knowing about it.
Yeah, but then you go into like your managed game queue thing, and there's like 15 of your games need an update, even though it's set on automatic updates. You're like, what are you doing?
It's weird.
Yeah.
They had me sold on the automatic update as soon as it happened. And I'm like, let's do it. Take control. Spy on me all you want. As long as my game's updated, I don't care what hits the internet with me. And then, sure enough, just like it never fucking works. It never works.
No, it doesn't work at all.
Worked that time.
It doesn't. only UI stuff works. The games don't work. And then the other day, I had to sit and wait for like some sort of Destiny update. Like some background update that didn't download, and I'm like, this is like the one night of the week I'm not doing something for this. I just want to play Destiny with my friends.
Yeah.
Hurry the fuck up.
That happened to me the other day. I was like, you know what?
And then
Fortnite was down. Their servers were down, so I'm like, well, I'll play this, and I'll go back to this instead. Needed an update. Okay, well, I'll update that, I guess, and then I'll just play this. Needed an update. I'm like,
like when Destiny was updating. When Destiny was updating, I was like, okay, well, I'll play Tony Hawk while Destiny's downloading. Tony Hawk needed an update. Fuck. Okay, well, I guess I'll play some Halo. Halo needed an update. Halo 5 gets its first update in like 12 years. Like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, you know what?
2 updates, you're not playing anything.
I'm like, you know what? I'm busting out my Switch. I'm playing Tetris for like 20 minutes.
Turns out needed an update. They added another shape.
Yeah.
They added another original classic game to the...
They actually added a ball to Tetris. That's weird.
It doesn't fit anywhere.
No, it just fucks you up.
Just breaks them all.
Yeah.
Turns
out this Tetris,
brick.
this version of Tetris is a brick breaker.
Brick breaker.
Yeah.
Wow. So, speaking of brick breakers, GameStop will reportedly get a cut of Xbox games sold digitally, even if you're not buying them from GameStop. Really interesting. It has something to do with the GameStop and Microsoft deal that we kind of talked about a couple weeks ago. Microsoft, if you didn't listen to that episode, Microsoft and GameStop entered some sort of deal to make a more user-friendly experience in store at GameStop, which we all know GameStop needs that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now apparently digital games, DLC, that kind of stuff, even if you don't purchase it at GameStop, they're still getting some sort of cut. They don't know how big the cut is yet, but seems like this is how GameStop's surviving. So,
yeah,
they need it. I'll put it that way. They need it because GameStop, and I've said this on the Boss Rush podcast and on the Crossroads podcast a couple of times. GameStop did a terrible job of adapting to the changing landscape of gaming. When stuff was going digital, they were still trying to hold on to their used games market, and then in a futile attempt, tried to make the video game industry like adjust to their sales practices and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw the result of it for the last 5 or 6 years. They've been trying to sell the GameStop company. You know, like they're like the major shareholders who actually run it were trying to sell the company and things like that because. The only time GameStop seemed to be making hand over fist profit is when the new consoles are coming out, and the last series of consoles didn't really give them that much of a bump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what's funny is the so like by me, you know, like we had a couple of people opened up a retro, you know, used game store that they sell Switch games used, they sell you know Xbox One and PS4 games used as well, but those collections of those games are very, very small, because they're more focused on their like thousands of NES games and Sega games and a bunch of Atari games and 3DO and like every single console that's ever existed basically. Like, and it's what's funny is any given time there is at least 3 times as many people in that store as there are any time that I go to a GameStop, and this store that I go to is about maybe a fourth of the size of a GameStop, so it's like the GameStop has all this area in their thing and they just don't do anything with it except for pile junk everywhere. And it's like you could easily be just like, like making it more clean and nice and having some kind of, something that you can do to have interaction with fans and letting people being able to, like actually come and really, try games before they buy them, or something. I mean, you're talking about selling used games. You should be able, like, they should have like a thing where people can actually go and try a game out, before they buy it and see if it's something, like something, just any kind of interaction that brings an experience that you can't really get.
Honestly, back in the day, before GameStops were becoming major fixtures and stuff at malls and stuff, and they started buying up all those little kiosks and stuff that were in the middle of the mall, reselling used games and stuff like that. Those kiosks and those fixtures used to allow people to play like a small bit of the used game they had. It was one of those things that built trust and confidence with the customers and stuff like that. And then from my time at GameStop, I can tell you this. With the and all that stuff, they used to get bent out of shape if we pulled the game out, and if we pulled the demo disc out and put an actual game in that somebody maybe wanted to look at and stuff like that. They got bent out of shape, and I'm like, listen, like we can either make the sale or they can walk out the door. Even a little bit of personalization and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes it got me in trouble because I was a store manager and like if I knew for a fact that like somebody wanted to try the game out, I could live with letting them play 5 minutes worth of this game and possibly getting that sale and building that rapport with the customer. Say come back and next time I don't even have to pull the game out and throw it in the demo because they'll trust my word on like, hey, this is a good game, you're gonna love this and stuff like that. But sometimes, what can you do? You got to follow the rules, or you lose your job.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. I think that ultimately, the main thing that has to change with GameStop is they need to like have some more Q&A or some kind of like interaction with the people who are working at their stores or the people who are running the stores, because ultimately the people that are working at a GameStop, chances are the reason they're working there is because they're knowledgeable about games or they enjoy games I mean, you know, like you're just a regular person who doesn't care about games. I don't feel like is gonna look at that as their first, you know, like choice for a place they're gonna want to work, because like when you go to a hardware store or something, you know, like a lot of times people are somewhat knowledgeable about kind of the sections that they're working in. And I feel like it's the same with the GameStop, is people go there and they work there because they know that they know a bit about games and they feel like they could, you know, help people find what they're looking for. And so you need to have some more interaction with people like that and have a better understanding of, you know, like the average person that comes to their store, like what they're gonna want, or, you know, what kind of questions are gonna be asked. You got to have an understanding of the business that you're owning, and actually try to make some kind of, you know, like make people feel like they're the people that are working there are actually their knowledge and time is actually, you know, like appreciated, you know, unfortunately that's a problem though in a lot of businesses, a lot of big companies and stuff that just do not care, you know, enough to show any kind of like, you know, appreciation. And, you know, and I think that ultimately more and more businesses and things are going to close if they don't show some kind of appreciation for stuff. It's just people aren't gonna want to pay much attention.
Here's the one thing I'll say, and maybe Microsoft's influence will rub off on GameStop's corporate. What they need to make sure to do is to make sure to value their employee base as much as they value their customer base. Because in all seriousness, I mean, I can tell you horror stories about this, and then, you know, like GameStop may come after at the BRG, and I don't want that type of liability and stuff like that. But the one thing I will say is like when you working for GameStop, one of the things, a lot of times you came in as a gamer and you wind up leaving GameStop as like the most jaded video game person ever. Like you wind up becoming so opinionated, and you wind up being opinionated not because of like just the state of games, but because of what the retail industry and how the company treated you, you know, as you know. And the whole thing was you came to work for these stores because you love this stuff and things like that. So, in all seriousness, like one of the things that hopefully, like I said, Microsoft may be able to influence is like, you know, like letting corporate know that it's also about the employee experience. If they come to work, loving what they do and loving what they can do, like your company model, your company business model is going to flourish.
Yeah. I loved going to my local GameStop because a lot of the employees are just fun to talk with, just have chats with about things.
Yeah. I mean, let the managers and stuff, you know, do the stuff that needs to be done. So, you know, like the inventories and you know quality control and all that stuff. Let the sales force, you know, be the people that actually get the things flowing and get the customers engaged and stuff like that. But, you know, what do I know? I'm the guy that used to work for GameStop.
I would love to see GameStop do a few things. I would love to see them have public Wi-Fi. Like, there should be guest Wi-Fi while you're there. If I go in and see a Switch game, it doesn't matter if I buy the physical copy or I buy a $25 code and use their Wi-Fi to download my Switch game. I should be able to do that in, like, a hub for gaming people. I would love to see deals of the day that are specific to, like, one for Xbox, one for PlayStation, one for Nintendo, and one for, like, PC. I would like to see, like, something centralized, like one thing for everybody that they pick out each day. I would like to see events like November 7th. They should do something for Mass Effect. I don't care. It can be. It doesn't have to be like a whole like the thing with the store or anything like that. It could just be even like the fact that they change an end cap to focus on this game for this day, or Halo, or whatever. They almost need to prove that they know what they're talking about, that they belong in this gamer space with the people that they're trying to sell a product to. And I think that's
not just some not just some overbloated number crunchers.
Yeah, and because I get that they were the games industry as far like doesn't have high margins as far as, and I get that they found a model that's like, hey, if you buy back this old game, we can resell it and like we can recoup our profits. It's the same thing that movie theaters do with the concessions. Like, I get it, and I get that you need to make money, and I'm okay with that as long as I'm getting something for what I'm paying for. Like, I don't know. I would love to see them change their image and succeed, and I would like to see like, oh, that was like a dark period for GameStop, and now it's cool again. Like, that would be great. I think it would be neat if there was a place where I could go and get the rare gaming things that I can't find anywhere but online and would never have a chance to physically see this thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many products out there that I would like to be like, oh, like, think about an Elite Series 2. It's like, I can be blue in the face. If you hold one, I guarantee you it will change your mind. You'll be like, I want that controller.
Yeah.
But like, good luck holding one. And like, are you going to go into GameStop and be like, hey, can you open this so I can hold it? They're like, no, that's a $200 controller. What if you don't buy it? Like, it should be okay. They should have something like that available.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? That's the crazy part, right? Because I guarantee you, okay, for I think what is it now, over 5,000 stores in this country for GameStop, because it used to be a lot more. But over 5,000 stores in this country, like, trust me, like every store in every store in every district can afford to shrink out one $200 controller. Mm-hmm. Every store can afford that, and I know it sounds appalling to the one percenters and the rich people. It's like, oh, we're gonna lose a little bit, we're gonna lose a dime of money and stuff like that. But still, like I said, like, it's about experiences, and for GameStop, I used to be in seminars and stuff for GameStop, where it's like it's all about the customer experience. That right there is an experience that that will make a sale. And it's true. Hell, you don't even have to give us a working copy. I guarantee you, if we work with the companies that make these things, they'll give us a mock-up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll give us a mock-up. Like, shoot, I walk into Best Buy all the time and I see mock-ups of all the PC stuff, like keyboards, headphones, stuff like that. I guarantee you, these companies, if GameStop reached out and said, "Hey, we're trying to do something that makes sure our customers, will buy your product and stuff like that," that'd be like, "Hey, here you go, take our product."
Especially now, since they're partnering with Microsoft, you would think that they'll have like Series X's on display, or like you said, Joe, like you could hold an Elite Series 2 controller because they're partnering with Microsoft and they can have like a display edition or whatever, and maybe it doesn't work or anything. Maybe it's just like a dummy controller, but like you can still get a sense of how it feels and whatever. Like, why not?
Yeah, like those Series X's that a lot of people were getting sent, like influencers and stuff, just so you got an idea of how big it was and all that. Mm-hmm. Like they could be sending stuff like that where they make sure they just weight it. They weight it so it's the same weight as a real one, but it's not actually a real one. It's just the case of it, and like they could send out those Elites, weight it right, but then just have it where the buttons press, but there's not really the actual tech inside of it, the expensive tech inside of it. Yeah, that makes it work because you don't need it. All you need it is to be able to see how it feels, weight wise, and how the buttons, work. And like, this is the thing, is it's crazy, right? GameStop specializes in games, something that one game can bring an entire fan base to a big, massive, like E3 style or like Comic Con style like show, where thousands of people will go to one place just because they love one specific game. Here you are, you have access to all these games, every single game, and you can't think of a way to like make some kind of fanfare thing that that wants to bring people into your store. I mean, like, it's like literally like just being handed to them the opportunities of things that they could do to bring people into the store, but they choose not to, like,
yeah,
maybe when a new game comes out, you may not be doing the midnight release thing, which brought a lot of people in, anymore, but you can do something very similar and easy to bring people to want to come and celebrate the, picking up the game or whatever. I mean, like it's there. I mean, the fans of games, like when they love games, and they want to have an experience outside of just playing the game sometimes. And it would be very easy for GameStop to give those kind of options,
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's not always gonna, work as well as maybe at one store as another. But I mean, if you're doing that for games in general, like certain games are gonna obviously bring either more or less people in. But still, if that doesn't matter. If you're giving something for people to do and fans to do, it's not going to matter in the end. They're going to see that you put that time in to, even let the employees that are working there, I'm sure, will enjoy it no matter what game it is. Just being able to interact with people and stuff and talk about things, It's funny that you can actually go to a GameStop and just enjoy going there and talking about games and,
I thought weren't they recently trying to weren't they messing with the idea of actually trying to make a lounge experience? I mean to an ex GameStop employee, and that sounds like a nightmare to me. But honestly, if you guys are talking about and prompting it, obviously there looks like there's a market for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that people listen to our show. They just want to, you enjoy talking and hearing about people talk about things you love. And I mean, honestly, it's a very, very basic idea that could easily bring more people to a store.
Well, I think I have one final piece on GameStop. I feel like I shit on them a lot, way too much. But think about the fact that
do it more.
there's a GameStop in every mall, right? Like I would say, fairly safe to say. What does every mall have? Like they all have kids with nothing to do all the time. I'm not.
Yeah.
I personally
and
would
a lack of arcades.
Exactly though, but I personally would not go to a GameStop just to hang out and like as a cafe type thing. But if you did that in a mall, you're getting that younger demographic. That's why kids hang out at the Apple Store. It's the Wi-Fi. It's to play on their phone. They're not buying computers. But if you have that and then you sell those Zwinky cards or whatever that's showing my age and I don't know what the hell kids play anymore. Sell them the stuff that they can buy that shit and keep that going. You get them in the store and they're going to buy something.
Yeah, the amiibos, you've got, all the toy stuff can still stay. That's going to bring a lot of people. The, Funko Pops, all that stuff can stay.
Mobile gaming.
You're not going to sell it if people aren't coming there.
Yeah, well, the only thing I will say is don't turn the stores into a daycare. Have.
Oh no.
No, I mean, and this is on the parents at this point, don't just drop your kids off and, if your kid's a little snot, don't just drop them off.
Oh, they do that anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still care about my friends who still work at GameStop. But at the same time, this is stuff that can help the business model. I mean, you guys are floundering, and I think that this isn't a life preserver like Microsoft threw them. This is the freaking Hail Mary, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic here. Phil Spencer kind of hinted at the exclusivity potential for Bethesda games in an interview. I'm gonna read this excerpt from this interview real quick. Now, it doesn't really mean that these games could be exclusive forever or at all, but he does make a good point. This was a deal not done to take games away from another player base like that. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was, how do we keep other players from playing these games? We want more people to be able to play games, not fewer people to be able to play games. But I'll also say, in the model, I'm just answering directly the question that you had, when I think about where people are going to play games and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud and PC and Game Pass and our console base, I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform other than the platforms that we support in order to make that kind of deal work for us, whatever that means. So, yeah, he kind of hinted that, they don't need to put it on other platforms to make this deal worth it for them. Although it kind of seems like they probably will at some point put these games out there. I know we've had this conversation multiple times that, like, okay, you can put it on PlayStation for $70 or $100 or whatever for those special editions or the Season Pass bundle or whatever, but you can also play it on Game Pass for $15 a month,
Yeah.
But I just thought that was pretty interesting that he kind of went out of his way to say that particular part.
Well, and like if the fact that you don't even have to essentially, in the future, you don't even have to have, like, let's say you just have a laptop that's just your everyday basic laptop, and you want to play those games, you can play them through Game Pass because your laptop that you're using doesn't need to have any power to it. All it's got to be able to do is play the stream. That's it.
Yeah.
So essentially, like, with xCloud, it's making it to where they want to be able to offer you the option to play their games without having to buy into their Xbox, their consoles. And they, so ultimately, like, they're making it as easy as possible without practically, just giving, like, making no money at all. They're making it easy for people to play it, where they want to, where it will be allowed. And, with them talking about doing what I had, the exact same thing that I said they should do with the whole making it a browser-based thing, that it's like, PlayStation doesn't have a browser. Yeah, well then it could play Game Pass games. Technically,
yeah,
but I think they would have to make one of those Stadia controllers that actually connects to the internet, or get a dongle thing that you would plug your controller into that would connect it to the internet. But I mean, it still would be very possible to literally anywhere that has anything that has a browser be able to play it. Their Game Pass games.
Yeah, I think the question is kind of, that longly worded scenario that happened is really not saying, like, are you going to make them exclusive? It's like, are you going to also release them on PlayStation? Because no one's concerned about Bethesda's games going to a Switch. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's just assumed that's probably not going to happen.
I don't know. Doom Eternal's still coming, they say.
But I think to that point, though, like, Game Pass would enable you to possibly play some of these Bethesda games on a Switch.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's weird to say that Game Pass at some point may come to a Nintendo Switch. I don't think that, I'm sure there will be more to it than that, but, like, it seems in the realm of possible things. But I would say it's more possible for that than it would be to go to a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Phil's a smart guy. Every decision that he's made as the head of Xbox recently has been, I would say, the right decision. I think he knows what he's doing. I don't think that they're looking to specifically, like, stop people from playing that game, but I think they're going to make their money back.
Yeah. Well, and, they, at the end of the day, they want you to come to their Game Pass, or they do want you to buy their console.
I think they want games. I think they want you to buy Game Pass more than they want you to buy a console.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel too. Because in all seriousness, like, I have a PC. Like, I'm a PlayStation gamer. I have Game Pass. I do. As a matter of fact, I am really weighing the options right now of getting Game Pass Ultimate. I am really weighing those options right now.
It's worth it with Ultimate. You get to play their their games like a week early or something like that sometimes.
Yeah, I think Gears was
Like,
4 days
early
or
access to game.
well, Gears gave you
Gears
like
was 5 or 4 days
with
early.
Game Pass regular, you got Gears on release day, base Gears 5 whatever. With Game Pass Ultimate, you got to play it 4 days early, 5 days early or something. You got all of those initial DLC packs like the Terminator pack, which whatever. You still got skin packs. You got a bunch of in-game currency to spend in store, and you got some character skins for free, right? Like I think that was their big. Oh, and you got the Bethesda skin for Marcus, which should have just been a separate character, but that's a different argument for another day.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one thing I'll say as the outsider looking in, and I say that as the outsider looking in because I don't own an Xbox console. The one thing I'll say about this is, like ultimately this is a very sound and good decision, that Spencer is making and stuff like that. And it's also and also the way he answered the question in the interview is very diplomatic because. As I was reading the interview, I realized the way he worded his answer and everything, it was like they were actually trying to pull, a one way or the other answer from Phil Spencer and stuff like that. So the way he worded it and everything, is good. And with the model that they have of Game Pass and everything, I agree with everybody here. They're more interested in selling Game Pass than they are about selling consoles right now. I'm not saying that they don't want to sell, all these consoles. But Microsoft said from the very beginning when they made Xbox that it was all about getting people the games, and 4 generations later they're living up to that expectation. They're trying to make that expectation a reality as much as they can, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there's that like something like Xbox, anything being part of Microsoft, and if you know like how Microsoft started and like where Bill Gates is and stuff now and the things that he does, yes, they are a company and a business at the end of the day, but there's some real like ideas that have existed in that company that have been very, very much about doing stuff for people, like outside even of like them. And, and so like, and honestly, like a lot of this like positivity and stuff that's come with the ways that Microsoft or Xbox has changed and these ideas of trying to bring games everywhere, like it makes sense. Like when we see kind of, even who Bill Gates has been as a person, like, trying to do things and make things in the world better in general, So it's, it all makes sense.
I like the fact that he got asked a question that he could have gave a very, like, political type answer. And he still kind of gave that, but then he answered the question the best he could at the current time. Like, I would wager that they currently do not know if they're going to make any games exclusive until they have played the games to see how popular they think they will be. And I think they do some more the deal's not even closed yet. They're still very early on in that.
Yeah.
So he can't say that, yes, we're going to make those games exclusive, and then something else could happen. So I appreciate the fact that he was asked the question that's on everybody's mind, but like, are these games going to be exclusive? And he's like, we want everyone to play them. He's like, but we he's like saying we don't have to put it on every console to make that happen. We have plenty of options available, but we don't know. Like, I like the fact that he gave an answer to it.
Yeah,
and I think part of it too is I think like they've kind of made it very clear that they still want their developers that they're picking up to be able to do the things that the way that they want to do them and still have a very big say in how things for them go. And so like, the thing is too, is I think that might be something that they even sit down and have a discussion with these developers, like talk to Bethesda about like, how they like, say, hey, like this is how much money you would make from this game if you were to do this, this, and this. Like, are you guys like, is that a satisfying number that you're seeing? And, like kind of like trying to look at how the people who are making games like make sure that they're being taken care of as well as making sure that Microsoft is being taken care of. Like they're like like there seems to be a really good friendship and like trust with Microsoft and the developers that are making their games, and kind of trying to work with them as much as they possibly can and let them still do their thing, So, part of me wonders if there's, like if it ultimately comes down to like, does Bethesda decide, hey, like we would like to make this game, for everywhere, like on all consoles, and and Microsoft would be like, like if that's what you guys want to do, we're fine with that. I think it could be there might be more than just what Microsoft wants. They might be looking at, what they feel like these developers want to do as well.
Do you realize what type of precedent that would set if they allowed that? That would change. That would also change the entire landscape of gaming. Going forward, if they did something like that, because it would allow other companies to like relax their stranglehold on some of their IPs. It really would. I mean, just imagine. And I know Ed would love this if he's watching right now. Just imagine if Nintendo was like, okay, Bayonetta 2 has been out for a year. Let's go ahead and let it loose to every other platform.
Yeah.
Well, Platinum has said that after Bayonetta 3 comes out, that they're looking to self-publish Bayonetta titles that are already out. I mean, I know Bayonetta 1 isn't Nintendo funded or whatever. It's already in 4K 60 on PS4 and Xbox One. I'm telling you, as soon as Bayonetta 3 comes out, you're going to see Bayonetta 2 on other platforms.
Yeah,
definitely, because my PC is ready to play that game.
Yeah. So, I mean, you saw that happen with a bunch of things on the Wii U also, right? Like Wonderful 101, the update to Ninja Gaiden 3. There's a bunch of games on the Wii U that Nintendo had exclusivity until the Switch came out, and then you just saw
Zombie U.
Yeah, you just saw them start popping off everywhere. So, okay, so the last thing we're going to kind of talk about a little bit before we get into our listener question and just some other stuff. In that same interview, Phil Spencer said that he was actually surprised by how fast the Series S loads things, and it actually loads things faster in some regards than the Series X because it's loading in the lower res textures and some other things due to smart delivery. So his quote was, "One of the biggest surprises for me is just how powerful the Series S really is. It's such a significant piece of hardware in a small form factor. This is a powerful piece of next-gen hardware. You'll have a very similar experience between the Series S and the Series X. Being honest, the Series S has surprised me in terms of how it performs." So, I mean, if you're looking to play some Xbox games or just have a Game Pass box, it seems like the Series S is actually a pretty... I mean, not that we were doubting it, but, it still seems like a pretty beefy piece of hardware. So, LeRon, what do you think of the Series S as like a tech guy?
You would have to hit me with that one. Honestly, and I'm trying to remember the specs off the top of my head. In all seriousness, like the Xbox Series S is probably the system I will get. And I blame you guys for that, by the way, because like invited me into the Boss Rush family, and now it's like I feel like I really got to perform. Like I kind of like centered myself around PC gaming. I knew I was gonna get a PS5. I knew that, but but tech wise, the Xbox, the main thing that I like about the Series S is that you're definitely doing all digital and stuff like that. It's a lightweight system, but it still has the same power and capabilities of the actual system itself. Now there are some things there that I saw out there reports that say it won't do exactly everything that the Series X is doing, but at the same time, we still don't know for sure until the system actually hits and stuff like that. And it's a good option, you know.
It's more for PC gamers who like people who want that, like, because the idea of the S is it just does 1440p at possibly 120 frames per second,
which is
so
great
it's just like it's more focused on doing the PC style thing where there are people who play PC and can do it higher than 60 frames per second or whatever 4K. But it's still a lot of PC gamers like to hit that 1440p instead, because they don't want to completely, max everything out in certain areas or whatever. So they can turn other things on. But yeah, so that's kind of like what they want to do with that. So
yeah, a lot of people don't understand, the experience when you start playing a console game on a monitor, especially like a nice gaming style monitor. People don't always understand that.
Yeah.
That's what I do now. I bought this monitor that I'm on right now as my 4K monitor, and I play my One X on it, and if I can get games at a steady 60 frames per second at 4K, for me personally, that's gonna be perfect for me, because sitting in front of a monitor, though, I can tell the difference between 1440p and 4K, and I do not like how muddy 1440p looks. Once you get 4K, it kind of is hard for me. When it's in your face like this, it's much easier to tell. On a TV, I don't think it will make as big of a difference, but when you have it right in front of you, it's definitely easier to tell.
I think they're going after the competitive gamer market as well as that lower price point, lower resolution thing. Because if you think about most people that play competitively, they will always choose frames over resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And also just thinking about when you meet up and you have if you're doing scrimmages or whatever, and you take your console with you, it's way easier to take that Series S with you than the X. Those people aren't playing off discs. It makes a lot of sense. I do think that this price point will probably turn a lot of households into a 2 current gen system household. There's a good chance that at some point I'm going to have both consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Just if I'm going over to my friend's house and I want to play, I don't want to lug that whole thing with me. I would rather take the smaller console.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you could just play through streaming. Play through console streaming. I could play on my phone while you're in someone's room.
Plus, people
on their Xbox.
People who are streaming console games too, the Series S is a lot more appealing too, because it's smaller. Most capture cards only, capture. My capture card only captures 1080p. So what do I need a Series X for if I'm streaming something, right? But I don't know. That box is super appealing. Like I said, I kind of want one for my office and put the Series X on my big TV in there. Just to kind of be honest with you, I think that would be really cool to just do that. But whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's different if you're getting a monitor that's actually targeting 1440p.
Yeah.
Versus doing 1440p on a 4K monitor, it's probably going to look muddier, kind of how when you take a old school TV resolution game and you put it on a newer screen, it looks completely like crap. It actually looks better if you play it on the TV that it's supposed to be running on. It actually looks better almost than it does on your nicer TV.
Yeah.
So I think that could be part of the thing too, is if you plan on running at 1440p, it's probably better to just have a monitor that's targeting that and making that look as great as it possibly can, versus trying to play it on something like a 4K.
I remember, that reminds me of a story. When we first got our first HD TV, when the 360 came out, or when the 360 was out, and I remember playing Gears. I remember playing Gears of War on that new TV at the time, and like it looked great, but something about it going back to like a CRT made it look better in some regards, you know, just because it's like, oh man, this game looks like it should be dirty and kind of muddy and just kind of, I don't know, it just looked cooler.
CRTs are better, actually. CRTs are a better TV. Like if they could make a 4K CRT, it would look better than a LED or a you know, like it would just look better, I think, because they were amazing tech, but you know, it just obviously with the way that it's done, it just isn't. Could you imagine a TV that's like?
I don't know about you though. I'm
size of your room.
I'm not carrying another CRT as long as I live, though.
Yeah,
32-inch CRT is like 6,000 pounds. So.
Yes.
I remember my cousin had a 50-inch CRT, and it took 4 of us to carry it down into his basement, to the point where we started hearing the stairs crack, and we were like, "Oh, we need to move fast because we will fall through the stairs and someone will die."
So, quick snippet: Sony made a 40-inch when they went to the Trinitron, the flat. CRTs.
I remember those.
Because the glass had to be so much thicker to be structurally sound. They made a 40-inch version that they had to stop making because the weight of the actual glass was cracking the cabinets of the TV. They could not make the frame of the TV strong enough to support them. So there's a few of these like 40-inch Sony Trinitrons that do look good, but like all the bottoms are just like, you can't pick it up. Because it'll just fall apart.
Yeah. I do wish I had my parents had this really awesome CRT. It was a 27-inch, like a flat screen CRT. And I used to play my Dreamcast and my original Xbox on it all the time. And it was just the greatest TV. And when I moved one time, I was like, hey, you guys saw that TV? They had like thrown it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, but it's like the perfect TV for old game consoles. Like, just let me have it. But they're like, it's gone.
Yeah, I have a really big CRT TV downstairs that weighs quite a bit. It takes a lot to move that thing. A lot of energy. It's probably like a 50-inch or something, but that thing is massive. I've got like a whole big like coffee table type thing, and it's like the size of that table. Like it's just like legs underneath it, basically.
All right, we're going to get into our listener questions. Remember, if you have a question, you can email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at arsenalxpodcast. We will answer your question here on the show, or you can join us live on Twitch, and if you ask a question in the chat, if it's good enough, it will make the show. It's got to be good, though. Or just okay, because we want questions. Give us your questions. This one comes from Aaron Geshen. I butchered that. It's all right. You know, don't have weird last names. That's all I have to say. Have ones we can pronounce.
Oh, man, harsh.
Hey, my last name is Dierig, okay? Nobody knows how to pronounce it, so I get it. Just messing with you, Aaron. He says, hey, all, I just discovered your slate of podcasts, and I have to say I love them. Here's my question for you. The Xbox Series X is just a few weeks away. What is the feature you're most excited for? Little to no load times, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's between that and just being able to like I'm like the tech part, like the tech nerd in me. Like I really want to see the whole AI stuff, in play of like up-resing these games without the devs actually having to do anything with the game to make it look better. Like that kind of like built-in like programming stuff that kind of like the Xbox itself is like doing it, doing the upgrading of graphics and stuff is just really interesting to me. Like, like how kind of just doing all that kind of inside stuff, and just, yeah, I just want to see, like just the difference of like what, like I'm going to have my 1X playing a game and then have it on the new console, the Series X, and just kind of see like the difference between playing a game, even just playing a game that, like I said, doesn't have any kind of upgrade, like, and see if there is a noticeable difference between the two, and stuff like that. I'm kind of, that's what I'm interested in, is just seeing how it makes games look, what a difference it makes.
Yeah. LeRon, I know you're getting that PlayStation first, but I mean, for these new consoles in general, what features are you looking forward to?
Well, the one thing that really got my attention, because I did watch the Xbox show when they did their games. I can't remember. Most of it was reveals and stuff like that. But the one thing that really got my attention was smart delivery, and I definitely did the research on that and things like that, because I was like, smart delivery, what is that? I did the research and figured out what it was. I like that feature, and the fact that like they're not leaving their customers by the wayside. People who were early adopters and decided to get the games on the older systems and stuff like that. They'll be able to get them. Mm-hmm. They'll be able to get the experience as well, for the most part. I mean, Sony's also offering something like that, but also I'm also there right there with Jesse. Like I really want to see like the whole landscape of console games now, as they get closer and closer to doing the same specs that PCs are doing and things like that. And it's one of the things that fascinates me about this whole thing. Plus, no load times. I mean, I can't. I honestly stopped using my PS4 because load times were really starting to get on my nerves. Yeah, I mean, for real. Like, I didn't really care about games being locked at 30 frames per second, things like that. I was really more perturbed by the load times, and that's probably my fault, because I don't have a bleeding edge computer rig, but at the same time, it's like I don't want my gaming to suffer on my PC, so I put the money in for the quality and stuff like that. And mm-hmm. It's really nice and refreshing that these consoles are starting to get some of that quality that us PC gamers are can be a little bit of a snob about.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, like, not ask for a lot of money to to have that feature, which is, I think what has always been the draw for consoles is, like, yeah, they may not be as good as the best computers right now, mm-hmm. but I'm still getting a good amount of tech for the little, price tag that I'm paying for it, like, and I feel like this new generation even more so. It almost feels like you're ripping them off.
This new generation of consoles, man. I mean, for what you're getting for under $600, that's amazing. Because I'm an IT guy and I work for a company, and we do custom builds of like all sorts of computers and stuff like that, from gaming to freaking folding rigs and stuff like that, and things like that. And I mean, some of the specs that these systems have, like, well, we're still over the $500 mark. So I mean, I know that these companies are taking hits, like Microsoft, Sony. They're taking mm-hmm. hits. I'm pretty sure even Nintendo's taking hits on the hardware losses. I mean, we don't have to be sure. They tell us they take the hardware hits, which is why they promote the games, which is why Microsoft has this nice vector called Game Pass. Like, Microsoft's making all their money back on any bit of money they lose on these consoles. They're making it back with Game Pass. I can tell you that right now. And now that I think about it, Game Pass is probably the feature that's the most exciting about this stuff. I already have it on PC, so when I get my Series S, where else I'm gonna have it at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did they have? Was that over 15 million subscribers to Game Pass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you figure how much you pay for that, and some of them may be only paying the $10, or some might be paying the $15 for the Ultimate.
I mean, just say everybody.
All those people pay for a year.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting their first month for like $1 or whatever, but like, you say like average person's paying $10 a month, right? Like 15 million subscribers, that's $150 million a month, times 12. Yeah, that's a pretty hefty chunk of change that you're banking, So
yeah,
I don't know. I think Game Pass is just it's the best deal in gaming. Plus, like with EA Play being added to it in November, I think Destiny is a huge get. Bethesda's starting to probably show up there soon. I mean, Doom Eternal's already there now, and Dishonored 2 is there, and I don't know, man. Game Pass is the Trojan horse. We've been talking about it for what, 2 years now, at least.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like like unlike a Netflix or something, a lot of the times there's a lull in Netflix or Hulu or whatever where there's nothing there. Like you're still paying for it, but there's like not a lot of stuff that you really are dying to watch. Whereas with Game Pass, I feel like there's always going to be something there for you to check out or play that that will give you an experience that you want. And I think it's such a win-win for everyone. It's a win-win for Microsoft, and it's a win-win for the people who have the service. Which is the nice thing. They were able to find a good like middle ground where the people paying it aren't feeling like they're getting ripped off, and and they're also making money off of it. So
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for next gen. It's only 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I cannot wait, man.
4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ish. So, man, can't wait. I can't wait unless. So, the thing we usually do at the top of the show that we forgot to do, but we're going to do now. Next gen console watch 2K20 shipping update edition again. Everybody still has their pre-orders, I think. So, I did look at my Best Buy order for the controller and the memory stick and everything. It moved from pre-ordered to shipment pending. So,
oh shit!
So, hopefully. Now, I don't know if that means they're shipping it to the store because I picked in-store pickup, so I don't know what that entails. But I'm excited. I can't wait to have that Master Chief statue sitting next to my Stranger statue, and then in March sitting next to the Drifter statue. Oh man, Josh posted that on Twitter, and I got real excited. It's happening. They're all coming. It's just going to be a nightmare for my wallet. I'm going to have to skip out on so many games just to buy these damn Destiny statues.
My order is still in here. Nothing's changed, so I would say that's good news from my perspective. I haven't had a successful change, though, like you have.
Yeah. So, Jesse, the Amazon order that I have for you is still pre-ordered. So that's good, and I have had no changes on my Target order, so also good, nice. I think.
Yeah, because I think some people were getting a change in their Best Buy, like people who bought the Xbox through Best Buy. There was some people that had it where it was saying that they would be getting it a couple of days late.
Yeah.
Something like that, but honestly, I think most people it's still a win as long as they're actually getting it. I'll take it a couple of days late. That's fine as long as I'm still getting it.
Yeah,
because they're coming out on a Tuesday or whatever, anyways. So I mean, how many other than the people who literally took that day off of work so they could play it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
like,
an idiot. Who would do that?
Like, other than those people, it really, I mean, the majority of people, I feel like it's not going to really screw much of anything up if they get it a couple of days late, because they're most likely looking forward to Friday to play it anyways. So,
yeah, my target ship date did shift from November 11th through the 16th to November 10th through the 16th. So whatever that, whatever. Man,
it'd be funny if it was like one of those, like, because my friend has had like the opposite of what a lot of people have had with the Amazon thing, where he's actually gotten games a day early.
Yeah,
like that.
Jesse, if you get your Xbox Series X a day early, I'm
like
gonna punch you.
Early.
I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna drive the 7 or 8 hour trip it takes to get there, and I'm just gonna knock on your front door and punch you.
Come out,
Phil.
Yeah, he's gonna give me. He said he was gonna give me my Xbox here live on the show.
Oh man. So. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Remember, you can catch Arsenal X live on Sunday nights here on twitch.tv/BossRushGames Live, or catch it on podcast services and YouTube on Tuesday mornings. LeRon, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you filling in for Josh here.
Hey, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, so I hope you come back on more often. Although
yeah, I'd love to. It's real interesting being the low man on the totem pole, because I don't currently own an Xbox system. I briefly had an Xbox 360. When I say briefly, I had just long enough to play 20 hours worth of the original Mass Effect game, and then that was about my tenure with Xbox at that point.
Yeah, because if anyone who's listening isn't somehow familiar with him, but yeah, you're a big Mass Effect fan. So
I am. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping Mass Effect 5. I'm hoping Mass Effect 5, basically puts it back to a state that, well, it's not like Andromeda did anything wrong. Just rush development. They needed more time to finish the game, but hopefully Mass Effect 5 will bring us back to form, and give us something that we can enjoy and things like that. I think it all hedges on how good the next Dragon Age game is going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I feel like, honestly, like Mass Effect Andromeda and Halo 5 have kind of the same problem, where it was like the tech and everything around that game was amazing. There were some issues in the beginning with some stuff that they fixed, but it became a really good tech-wise game. But it's like the story part that maybe isn't as great. And I feel like it's the same thing with Halo 5. Like, I love how the guns and everything look in Halo 5, and I love how that game plays, but the story just wasn't there. And I
played through Halo 5. I played through Halo 5 three times, and I still can't tell you what happened.
Yeah.
The one major difference, though, is that people still play Halo 5.
It's fair.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
that is true, because I never beat Mass Effect Andromeda, and I was a day one purchaser.
Well,
I had a pre-ordered day one purchaser, never finished it.
Yeah.
Halo 5's multiplayer is so good, though.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And they still support it.
I know.
Yeah.
They weren't so embarrassed that they just stopped.
Just because your story sucks doesn't mean the gameplay is bad, though. So
we never got the DLC for Andromeda either that we were promised, right? There was 2 packs that were supposed to come out.
Yeah, it never happened.
Did they just maybe cut ties and say, well, this will just be part of the next one?
Actually, EA didn't want to. And I'm saying it in a negative way. EA didn't want to waste any more time with Mass Effect Andromeda. That's really all it came down to, because I don't know. Maybe some people behind the scenes at BioWare is actually working on that DLC, and might just slide it to us, somehow or some way, But then again,
Mass Effect Andromeda Ultimate Edition for the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
Yeah, Don't do that. Don't do that. Just go ahead and build us. Just go ahead. Actually, you know what? Just make the sequel. Just make a sequel and include that content that we should have gotten. That's the best thing I can say. You know, I probably will mention that on our upcoming Mass Effect show that Boss Rush is doing.
Yeah,
because I'm on that panel, so I'll mention that there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. LeRon, where can we find you?
You can find me on various social media at Exodus803. That's EXODUS803. That's also my gamer tag, so you can find me on the various consoles that I play or on Steam.
Nice. Joe, where can we find you?
Colonel Panic on Twitter. Just check the show notes. It's way easier. There's an underscore.
Yeah.
There's some numbers in there.
I think you can.
It's
There's
fine.
Numbers. It's where there's letters.
Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
And you can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find all of us on various content here on Boss Rush Games. Thank you, LeRon. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jesse, for joining me tonight on Arsenal X. We're going to throw up the X one last time.
Fine, you got it.
Because we are exiting this show. Goodbye, everybody.